Okay, we are going live. Uh, I am going live in three, two, one. Hopefully, this is working okay. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm live. I am uh, seeing some prompts on my screen which make me think that I don't want to click on those. So before I start the Zoom meeting is all queued up and ready to go. Let's just make sure. Hi, I'm Jim Munchback, and may seem like I'm a little discombobulated at the moment. It is 9:59. We're going live on Facebook and YouTube now, getting ready to do the Credit Crush assignment at the University of Houston, Bauer College of Business, Personal Finance, and yeah, I've got some things going on. Lots of the phones ringing, alarms going off. Technology, you gotta love it. Okay, so let's see. We've got some folks waiting in the Zoom room. I'm gonna go ahead and let them in. Admitting. Hey there, Gavin and Laney. Hope you guys are doing well. If you could, please leave a little comment in the chat and let me know if you can hear me. I'm assuming and hoping that you can. I've got my mic on, a little green light there. Okay, we are live. I'm also assuming that Challenger, who are you? Challenger, is that Rob? Leave a little comment, Challenger. I'm not sure who you are. I hope you are a student or a friend. Right. Let's jump into the chat. Alrighty. Okay, Challenger, I'm still waiting for your comment. Tell me who you are. Everyone else who's in the course, please go ahead and leave your name and the time that you signed into the Zoom room. We're going to get started here in just a minute. It's just a minute after 10 a.m. Hi, oh, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that, Challenger. I have a friend named Challenger, and he stalks me. Actually, he's a good friend. Yeah, I can tell you how to change your name if you want, Yolani, but we'll do that later. Yolana. So anyway, thank you. I saw Challenger and I thought that was my buddy Rob, who we worked together for a while. And anyway, so okay, we're going to do the Credit Crush assignment, and we'll get started, like I said, in a couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions, please hit the unmute button and just speak up. Let me know you have a question, or you can obviously just chat it in to the chat box. I'm kind of excited about today's assignment. It's one of the coolest, I think, it's one of the coolest uses of your financial planning portal. The credit debt management tool it's kind of a cool thing. If you're a financial planner, you like to have tools that can help your clients make good decisions with money. And this tool does that. It helps you make really good decisions relative to how you manage debt. And so we're teaching you that, and that's part of this week's assignment. Last week we set it up. The Credit Crush assignment was the setup for last week. So last week we did the setup. This week we're going to actually do the assignment. So buckle your seatbelts. Hopefully you've already seen how this is going to work, and most of you have already done the assignment. It's really not, this part of the assignment is really easy if you paid attention last week. So I don't see any questions in the chat box, which is kind of the way it goes. You guys don't ask a lot of questions, and I'm assuming because you're here in the Zoom meeting that you're well ahead of the game, and you're not struggling at all with the assignments. And I know that's true because I grade your assignments, and y'all are doing a great job. So this week we're going to do a couple of things. Let me get this out of the way. So this week in this lecture, in the next few minutes, we're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to review the Credit Crush assignment with you, but I also think now's a good time to go ahead and do some preview for your capstone assignment. So that's what we're going to do. And if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, welcome. Please leave a comment. I read those comments. But if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, notice that there is a link in the notes below, in the comment, in the description. There is a link so that you will see this post. This is a post. This is what I'm using today kind of for my notes. I do this every week, but I just want you to know, if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, just look in the description of the video under the title and you'll see a link, and the link will take you right here to this post. So when you get to this post, you're going to see what I see, and this is what we will review for this week's assignment. I'm trying to... I've got a couple of tools that I use, and the reason I'm distracted at the moment is because they're flashing notices to me. One of them is a really cool note-taking tool that I use. It's called Fathom, and it's recording right now, and it'll give me a nice little summary of the meeting afterwards. But on this screen, I have a notice saying, start the meeting. So it looks like the meeting started. Hey, Gavin, would you do me a favor and just jump into GroupMe and just see if there are any students there that are looking for the link? I know a couple of weeks ago we had some issues with the links, and I want to make sure that that's all good. And I'm also going to jump in and admit Maria. Looks like she's waiting. But would you do that for me, Gavin? And just give me a note there in the chat. Will do. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I asked you to do that last week, and you did it quickly, and you did it well, and I appreciate it. And you will notice you'll get an extra 1,000 points for your cooperation. That's not real. You won't really get 1,000 points, but I will remember you for sure, and I appreciate it. I wish we could meet on campus. You know, it was so much fun to meet you guys when I was on campus. Now I just get to see your initials, and so anyway, let's get going. It looks like we've had a couple of folks join the Zoom meeting in the last couple of minutes, so welcome. Hopefully you didn't have any trouble with the link. If you did have trouble with the link to the Zoom meeting, please let me know. And again, for those of you who are watching on YouTube and Facebook, we are live streaming, so welcome aboard. And if you're wondering, if you're still not sure how to find these videos for this semester, it is spring 2024. The playlist it's a redirect link. uhplaylist.com will take you to my YouTube channel, but it will take you not just to my channel, but specifically it will take you to the playlist for this semester. So every semester I change that redirect link so that it is specifically for the current semester. So it should make it super easy for you to find these Zoom meetings. And yes, they are required. You have to watch. If you're watching on YouTube, though, the cool thing about YouTube is you can you can watch and listen at double speed. You can listen a lot faster than I can talk. So that's the deal. All right. So I want to also mention, this is just kind of before we get started, I wanted to mention that LinkedIn is my favorite social platform, and I think I came to like LinkedIn through professional connections, and I have lots of financial professionals who I'm connected with on LinkedIn. And I've also been focused on connecting with students, with my students at the University of Houston. So if you haven't connected with me, I will accept your connection and gladly, and we can continue to be connected after the semester if you're interested in that. If you're on LinkedIn, that's a great tool for networking. So did want to mention that. And I did create this new little banner at the bottom, playing around on Saturday. So there we go. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to click on this button, and we're going to do the Credit Crush assignment this week, but we're also going to review or preview the Capstone assignment. But what you're seeing right now on the screen is just kind of a looping video that shows you what you're going to do to jump in. And again, most of you have already done this. You've probably already seen what's going on in your financial plan with the debt that you created. So last week we set it up. Last week we set it up with some debts. You put a credit card in with at least $10,000. You bought a car, your dream car, and you bought a home. You did a little research and you bought a home. So that's what we did last week. We set it up. This week we're going to actually do the assignment. So this week we're going to do the assignment, the Credit Crush assignment. And before I get started, nobody has asked the question yet, but there is this week's class collaboration. So this week's class collaboration, I want to mention what it is and talk about it for a minute, and then we'll jump right into the Capstone assignment and the Capstone preview and the Credit Crush assignment. So this week's class collaboration, this is the conversation I want to have. I want to know what you think about the U.S. debt. Like, we have a debt right now, the United States. It's fascinating to me. I've been watching the U.S. debt clock for some time. You can go to usdebtclock.org, just like it says on the screen, and you can see the U.S. debt clock, and you can watch it grow. And you can see a ton of information on that website that just shows you real time what's going on with the United States deficit. And it's fascinating to me because I've been watching this for several years, and I've been watching it go up, and it's been going up and up and up. But in the last few years, it has doubled. It has just gone crazy. So I'm just curious. First of all, do you know about the U.S. debt clock? Have you ever seen it? Here's what I'm asking you to do for this week's class collaboration is spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, looking at the U.S. debt clock. And as you're looking at it, as you're just looking at it and seeing it, I'm just curious, what are you thinking? Just tell me, what are you thinking? What do you think it means? I don't care what you comment on relative to the U.S. debt clock. I just want to know that you know how to find it and that you spent 5 minutes looking at it, thinking about it, considering what does it mean to you? What does it mean for your generation, this amount of debt that we have? And I'm not asking for your insights about macroeconomics or the markets. If you want to share that, that's great. But really, I'm just asking you, how do you feel about your country, if you're a U.S. citizen, or even if you're not? How do you feel about that much debt? What do you think it means for the future of the folks who live in this country? So how much debt per citizen? That's growing. And I'm just curious, what do you think about that? So that's this week's class collaboration. It's just the U.S. debt clock. So that, again, is this week's class collaboration. Any questions about that? Feel free to pop them into the chat. Let me make sure I don't have anybody waiting. Looks like I don't have anybody waiting to get in, so very good. And I don't see any questions, so let's get started. All right, the Credit Crush assignment, I'm going to go back to my iPad and just jump through. So last week you did the research, and most of you did a great job with the research. Remember, the idea here is to, and most of you really get this. Most of you are in a position right now where you could do the Capstone assignment, and it would be perfect. I mean, you understand that what we're doing is we're building a financial plan, a comprehensive financial plan that imagines that you've graduated and you've already got a job, the job that you will pursue based on your area of study in your major. So I asked you to do some research and figure out what would you get paid if you landed that job, your dream job. And so most of you did a great job with that. This is the foundation for the work that you're going to do throughout the rest of the semester, is to pretend that you are older than you are, 10 years older than you are, and you've already graduated and you started your career, and you understand the expenses, realistically, the expenses that are related to your life. So many of you are not in that situation where you are paying your own expenses, so it doesn't matter. In this course, we're building kind of a pretend financial plan, and what we're pretending is that what is realistic for you when you graduate in terms of your expenses, in terms of your income, those are all things that we're going to pretend moving forward. And so when you do your capstone assignment, it's just like you have an actual financial plan for in the future based on some of the things that you hope to be true in your life. That you have a job, the job that you want, that you've purchased a house, the house that you want, that's in the right proximity to where you're working. So all of this should make sense. It should all be connected in a way that makes sense from a realistic perspective. So that's what this whole semester moving forward, that's what you're doing. That's your assignment. That's your project, if you will. And so that's what most of you did a great job, like I said, and most of you did a fantastic job in terms of just the detail that goes into each of the data cards that are a part of your financial plan. The other thing that I'm paying attention to, that I want you to continue to pay attention to throughout the semester, is your detailed expenses. So you know where that's at in your financial plan. If you don't, you need to do some work. You need to start spending more time. And again, most of you are phenomenally doing great, but there's always a small group of students who are more like I was in college, who show up late, do the least amount of work possible, and then wonder why they're not getting good grades. And again, I'm saying I was one of those kind of students. I worked full time. I got married very early. I started a family very early. I had a very, very, very active social life, and I was quite distracted in college. So I paid for my own college, so I wanted good, decent grades. I wanted to graduate. That's what I wanted. And so most of you want to earn an A, and I want to help you do that. But you've got to do the work. So pay attention to the detailed expenses, because as we go through the course, as we work on your capstone assignment, those expenses become very, very important in terms of how your financial plan fits together. And so if that doesn't make sense to you right now, then just, like I said, spend some more time in your financial planning portal thinking about these expenses. This is just a snapshot of what your financial planning portal looks like, where you do the detailed worksheet. So you can do just a lump sum number, but that's not acceptable. I want you to do the detailed worksheet, and hopefully you know where to find that in your financial plan. Your income, obviously, that is going to require a little bit of research on your part. So you've done that. You've made 3 big purchases. You bought your dream house, the car that you've always wanted, and you racked up some serious debt, at least 10 grand on a credit card. Now, one of the things that I asked you to do is to do a little research and figure out what's a reasonable interest rate for each of those expenses. Most of you did a great job. Some of you got some feedback from me and some pushback and some deductions because you didn't bother to do that. And so you will want to make those corrections and kind of pay attention to the details of the instructions moving forward as we get closer to the capstone assignment. So, but most of you, like I said, did a great job. The data cards for your mortgage, for your credit card, for your car payment, you had the payment, the minimum payment, the interest, the balance, all that stuff. It's all right there in the data cards. So if you missed it, it's like you just got in a hurry and you didn't complete. And so if that was you, you got some deductions. But most of you did a great job, and I'm sorry to be preaching to the choir for most of you who did a great job. So anyway, let's just now jump into, you probably already know and understand what is the, the crux of this assignment. Let me see, I think I hit the wrong one there. That's the setup. I'm not sure. Yeah, here we go. So this is the debt management section of your financial plan. And it starts, you go to the dashboard and you go to debt, and that'll take you there. And you'll see there's really 3 different options for the strategies that you can select. And you're just going to select one. The one that's most common, the one that usually works the best, is to take the largest interest rate and pay that down first. And you will see how much savings you get. So I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit of the navigation for what you're going to do to complete this part of the semester, this assignment, the Credit Crush assignment. And don't forget about the class collaboration. I probably shouldn't have put that in this looping video because it's really just to highlight while I'm talking. I want you to be able to just kind of see what you're going to be doing. Now, if you happen to be in your financial plan while you're watching this video, that's awesome. You should probably do that. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're here in the Zoom meeting, you're welcome to jump into your plan. If you have questions about where to find this or what it looks like or what you want to do, feel free to pop that into the chat. But it's really simple. It really is. Now, I want you to notice, though, there is, I'm going to get rid of this and jump into, let me get rid of that. And now I'm going to jump back into my iPad, and I want to fast forward and go to the capstone preview. So this week's assignment, the Credit Crush assignment, I want to see a screenshot of before and after. So this is the before screenshot. It basically just says you haven't made any choices. You haven't clicked on that action items. You have same priority for all debt. So that's the before. Super simple. But then you're going to do an after. This is the most important screenshot in this week's assignment. And this is kind of what I would be looking for, is something like that, where you save a couple $100,000 and you save, 60 months. In other words, you pay off your debt 60, 70, 80, 100 months earlier. You save a couple $100,000. That's what I'm looking for. That would make sense to me. But what you're going to see, I'll just tell you, just like when I'm going to hit this button again. And what you're going to see when you do this in your plan is you're going to see a number like you're seeing on the screen. It's going to be a big number. That's $831 million. That's redonkulous. Okay, but Billy's plan, and that's what we're looking at here. Billy's the plan that I created just kind of as an example. Billy has a lot of debt. a ton of debt. Billy and Sally have a ton of debt. And I set it up that way just to illustrate kind of how much it costs when you have debt, when you have credit accounts where you're paying the minimum amount. And what happens is you're paying the minimum payment, and instead of your balance going down, your balance is going up. And that's how you get buried in debt. So the purpose of this assignment, the Credit Crush assignment, is and always has been to help you see how credit can destroy you. If you don't manage it well, it can destroy you. It's what my wife and I think I told a little bit about the story. My wife, Connie, who is the bride of my youth. When I was in college, I told you I was pretty distracted. I was very active in my social life. In my pursuit, my entire life purpose was to find a wife and start a family. I know that doesn't seem like anything you would do these days. It's really an old-fashioned kind of thing, but I was an old-fashioned kind of guy, and I was looking for a wife in college. That's really why I went to college, to find a wife. I went to Baptist Bible College to find a good Christian Baptist wife, because that's what I was taught to do, and I was pretty happy with what I found. We've been married for many years, but Connie is the one that helped me see when we got married and we got buried in debt that we were paying our credit card bills, and we were paying them every week. She was paying them. I was making the money, and I was spending the money, but she was the one writing the checks and paying the bills and looking at the statements. And she was looking at the statements, and she realized that because we were paying the minimum, which was what we could afford to pay all the credit cards, they weren't really credit cards, they were credit accounts. And so she's looking at the statements, and she's seeing that the balance is going up, that we're never going to pay off these loans. And so that's what I want you to see in your financial plan. And the fact that you may have a really ridiculous number, like $831 million, which is what Billy has, you won't get deductions for that if you give me some comments and tell me why that ridiculously high number is there. Just, pay attention. If you send in your after screenshot, the most important screenshot in this assignment, and if it's over $100 million and you don't comment on it. In fact, if it's over $10 million, think about that for a minute. If your financial plan, if one strategy in your financial plan will save you over $10 million, you've got to be going, okay, wait a minute, something here doesn't seem right. And it's not right. So now it is right if you're very young and you have a ton of credit card debt and you're paying the minimum on all of them. I mean, it goes back to like the national debt, okay? If you just keep racking up credit card bills and you're paying the minimum, or doing like the U.S. government is doing, just paying the interest on the loan, that's what the U.S. government is doing, you're going to recognize that your debt gets higher and higher, that your balances get higher and higher. So there's a correlation here with this ridiculous number that you would be seeing if you are Billy, or if your financial plan has some really high interest rates and you're paying a minimum payment. So that's what I want you to learn. That's what I want you to pay attention to. So I hope that makes sense. Again, for most of you, this is like you got it, you understand it. Just explain it to me so that I know you understand it. That's the purpose for this part of the semester, this assignment, the Credit Crush assignment. Okay, so now I'm into the Capstone preview, and I just wanted you to know, like, I have tons and tons of documents and articles and posts related to the Capstone assignment, and I tried to summarize it so that you could kind of have access if you want. This is not required. This is just an extra for you in this post. And again, the link to this post is in the video on your YouTube playlist. If you want to go to this post and just spend a few minutes and get ahead on your capstone assignment, you're welcome to do that. This is just a collection of stuff. In fact, here is, if you scroll down when you go to this post, when you scroll down, there's a lot of information here because I just took it all and threw it into one post. But it's somewhat helpful if you're struggling or you don't feel like you have your head wrapped around what we're doing in this semester, in this course, and building a financial plan that's based on your future. If you're struggling with that, you might want to spend a few minutes here, and you'll see some of the questions that were asked by students in previous semesters and how I answered their questions. And you'll get to see like I said, some of those questions and answers. By the way, all of these students gave me permission to post their questions. Each semester, I do tutorials, and I ask you, when you have a question, let me know, and I'll be happy to do a tutorial to answer your specific question. So that's what I've done in the past. That's what I'll do this semester. And these students, like I said, they gave me permission to post their question along with my answer so that the rest of the cohort could have access to that. So that's what I've done in the past, and that's what I'll do this semester, and all of those tutorials will end up in this one place right here. So if you go to uhplaylist.com, any tutorials that I do for this semester will be there, and I'll try to title those so that you know what they are. But that's kind of what this post is. It's some questions and answers from students along the way. And you can see, that's a good one for me just to leave there for a minute. So that's a GIF file. It's pretty cool. It should replay over and over. But you see, that student had $38 million. That's a lot. And I would expect if you had that result this week in your assignment, that you would explain why you have such a large amount of savings. It's $38 million. Now, it's not as high as Billy's, which is $830 million. But still, it's a lot. So I just want you to go through your financial plan. I want you to look at the payments. I want you to look and see just what's going on with the balances so that you can understand how it really impacts your debt when you pay extra and when you're paying more than the minimum. And conversely, I want you to recognize that, like in this situation, if we were to go and dive into this financial plan, we would see that there are some accounts, some credit accounts, where we're paying the minimum, or we're paying the minimum, which is the racket that the credit industry uses to keep you as a customer for life, a customer who doesn't pay off their balances each month, who pays the minimum, who pays the interest, pays fees, and then continues to do that for the rest of your life, because that's what they love. That's what the I Love Credit score is all about, getting folks like you early in life to pile on debt, keep that debt for your entire life, and pay incredible amounts of money over your lifetime. So that's why that number's large. You've got a person who's very young, who's accumulated a good amount of debt, who's paying the minimum towards that debt, and the balances are continuing to grow. So when you plug in one of these debt strategies, all of a sudden you see this monstrosity of a number called savings, and that's what you're seeing there, which is 38 million. Again, I don't care what number you come back with. All I care about is that you understand what we're doing in this assignment in terms of how you're managing debt strategies in a way that changes the outcome for you. So whatever your real financial plan is in the future, whether you spent $1 million on a house and $150,000 on a Tesla, whatever you end up doing, this assignment and this whole course, especially your capstone, is going to help you see your financial future much more clearly. And it's going to help you know where to tweak things to change the trajectory of your financial future. That's the whole point of the capstone assignment. So that's what you're going to be working on this week. Is that this credit crush is all about these strategies. In the future, we're going to be working on the probability of success for your overall plan. That will be a big part of your capstone assignment, but you don't have to worry about that now. However, if you want to be working ahead, I just want to give you kind of a heads up that that is part of the capstone assignment. And again, you have action items where you can tweak all kinds of things in your financial plan. And think of all of those things in your financial plan as each of these data cards. So you've been creating data cards all along. You started with your family, yourself, your birthday. That's one data card. How old are you? Then there's other data cards like your savings, how much are you getting paid from work? That's a data card. Your mortgage, your car loan. Each of these are little data cards, and they all feed into the entire mathematical equation that tells you where will you be in the future if you have this many expenses, this much income, this much growth in your investments. All of these mathematical equations are feeding into this probability of success. And then we use Monte Carlo analysis, which is 1,000 different options or scenarios to come up with a percentage of probability of success. So you don't need to really understand any of the complicated, sophisticated nature of this mathematical stuff, but I do hope that you are starting to understand kind of the value of creating a financial plan for yourself. And even though this is a make-believe financial plan, because we're pretending that you're 10 years older and we're pretending that you already graduated, the things that you learn throughout this course of this semester can be very valuable as you build your own financial plan and, next year, the year after you graduate. So I hope that helps. We will get into tax allocation. That's later on, but it is part of the capstone assignment. Just wanted you to see that. So again, these are, I want to mention this too, these are just questions that students had about the capstone assignment that might help you if you're a student who wants to be working ahead. This is why I'm posting this week in week 6, so that you can start to do that if you have time and you want to spend the time working ahead. Many of you are so much more, such better students than I was when I was in college. And it always fascinates me and impresses me to see the kind of commitment and the kind of quality work that you do above and beyond what's required. And so, there's basically 1,000 points in this course. And I always think of it like this. When I started teaching this course, it didn't take me long to see the students who were more like me, who were performing at this level. When this is what an A was, students were performing at this level like me, but there were a much larger number of students who were performing at this level, and those were the A students. And it didn't take me long as a new professor to figure out there's a big difference between the A students and the students that are more like me, who do the least amount of work, do it the last minute, and end up with a different result. And I really do try to help the students who are like me, because that's why we have early assignment submission, where you turn your assignment in early and I give you feedback so that you can fix it. I do everything I can, including manipulation, to help the students who are either struggling or just not really, performing at the same level as the A students. But on the other hand, I want to do everything I can to support and affirm the students who are performing up here. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you, but that's why I'm doing this, is so that if you want to be one of these students up here, this gives you a little bit of an edge, lets you get, some information ahead of time. I do two things I want to mention before we kind of wrap up. We're going to wrap up early today, but this is not a screenshot. This is a picture of a screen. And I grabbed it because this was a question from a student, and I was happy to have the question. And when you do send a question, if you do send me a question, by the way, and you ask me to do a tutorial, it will be helpful for me if you grab screenshots from your financial plan so that when you send me questions, I know I can generally look at your screenshots and almost tell what the problem is or the solution. But if not, I jump into your plan and I do a little research. So if you are a student who's struggling, or you're just trying to figure something out so that you can make sure you have it right, I'm happy to do a tutorial. Now, first, I would like for you to jump into GroupMe and say, hey, does anybody else have this issue? Can you help me solve this problem? But if you don't get an answer, if it's something that other students are struggling with, I would love to do a tutorial to answer that question for you. But I need you to ask the question, to send me the email with some screenshots. You can send me a text message with screenshots too. But if you're going to send screenshots, it's kind of better to send an email. But either way, remember, the best way to reach me is by text message. So if you send me an email, I get so many emails. And some of you send emails without a subject line, without telling me your name. Just use good protocol for communication if you send me an email. And then I would, if I were you, send me a text message to tell me you sent me an email, because the text message just comes right to my phone. It doesn't get buried in my email. I get hundreds of emails every day. And I try to find yours and see them and respond to them. But as many of you know, a few of you know, you send me a couple of reminder emails before I get back to you. So please just know that I get hammered with emails. And if you're not a client of mine, I'm not really looking for your email. If you're a client of mine, I'm looking for your email. But anyway, hope that helps. Again, this is a picture of a screen, not a proper screenshot. So if you are still struggling with screenshots, you will be getting deductions in your assignments. So just FYI. And look, I forgot to change that to Canvas. I have some mistakes here, but that was an old question when we were still in Blackboard. Okay, so the next thing I want to mention is, so again, there's a debt management with a big number, and that student was probably asking, why do I have such a big number? How do I fix that? Excuse me. So don't feel bad if that happens to you. Just do a little research in your financial plan and see if you can figure out why you have hundreds of millions of dollars in savings because you changed your debt strategy. Just pay attention to those balances and those payments and those interest rates, and it will start to make a lot more sense. Okay, so now here's what I want to do. Here's a good one. What's that number? Somebody chat in and tell me what that number is. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, just put that number there, and I will be very happy to see that you're watching the video and you're seeing the screen and you recognize what that number actually is, that number that you're looking at right there. Okay, let's see. I don't see any chats in the Zoom. I'm not going to say anything else until somebody chats in that number and tells me what that number is, because it's a unique number. It's a big number. I'm still waiting. I'm wondering if my Zoom froze up because nobody is chatting in. I'm looking at my chat and I'm thinking maybe you guys are watching Netflix. Gavin, are you there? You still there? Yolana? Laney? Hello? Anybody? What number are you seeing are you not seeing my screen? Can you hear my voice? Testing. I'm a little worried right now. Nobody is chatting in. It makes me think maybe. Gavin, thank you. Gavin, can I say that you said 12 million, which is the reason I wanted you to post this number. Yes, it's a 12. But count those digits. And this is kind of really, thank you, Gavin. I don't mean to pick on you, but this is why I wanted to spend all this time letting you know that on your capstone assignment, if you submitted this number, you would get a 50-point deduction. 50-point deduction. I want to say that again so that my note taker will make sure that I capture and highlight the fact that I'm telling you, you will get a 50-point deduction if you submit an assignment, the capstone assignment, with a number as big as this without even acknowledging what that number is. It happens every semester. Gavin, yes. Yolana, 12 billion with a B, not million. Now imagine if that's your financial plan and you have $12 billion in savings. Something's not right with your plan. It's an interesting number, but I get them every semester. And I'm just telling you, I don't care what your number is, but if you come back with $12 billion, it means you've done something. One of your data cards is out of whack. And so, if you come back with $12 million and you tell me about it, then I'm going to be okay with that and you won't get a 50-point deduction. But if you give me a number like that and you don't even mention it, like you didn't even see it, or, you think it's 12 million versus 12 billion, that's a problem. That means you're not paying attention to the numbers in your financial plan. And that's going to get you some serious deductions. So I wanted you to be aware of that. And that's why we're doing the preview of the capstone assignment. It's true for the Credit Crush assignment as well. Like this would be this week's assignment. If you came back with this number and you didn't mention it, you're going to get a deduction. You're going to get a 25-point deduction on a 50-point assignment. Now, the good news is if you turn your assignment in early by Friday at 3 p.m., I'm going to push back. I'm going to give you a 25-point deduction, and I'm going to say, go back and take another look because you missed something. And, if you have a huge number, that's what you missed. So any questions, comments, concerns? Hopefully that's fair. But again, I'm trying to hammer this home because it's really part of the process of paying attention to your financial plan. And so this week is a good opportunity for you just to start paying attention to the numbers, the results that are in your financial plan so that you can just be aware of what's going on. And again, we're going to talk about these probabilities of success. So right there is a number. This is, again, capstone preview. If you're interested in the capstone preview, just know that you're going to create a probability of success within your plan. That's in the snapshot. We'll go over it multiple times throughout the semester. But that number right there is $109 million. So this plan, this student's plan, says they have a 100% probability of success with an ending value of their plan of $109 million. And that may seem really good, and a lot of students will say, hey, it's awesome, it's all good. But I will say that's a 50-point deduction on your capstone assignment because you didn't even recognize that you have $109 million left over at the end of your plan, which means there's something wrong. Probably you're not using the right expenses. There's something you're missing. So if you turned in this assignment, your capstone assignment with $109 million, and you told me that you were aware of it and that there were issues, you couldn't figure it out, you tried this, you tried that, but it just you couldn't get it, then either I'm going to try and figure it out for you, or I'm just going to go, okay, well, at least you tried. At least you didn't just, buzz through the assignment without paying attention to the ending result. So hope that makes sense. Again, it's a 50-point deduction if you just submit your assignment with this huge number without even acknowledging that you have this huge number, as if you didn't even notice it. So that is about it. A lot of this is duplicate, so when you jump into this post, if you want to review it, you'll see, just kind of speed read it and look for what look for anything that might be helpful. And I'm not telling you need to spend any time looking at that. It's for students who want to work ahead. The Capstone preview. We will be previewing and reviewing the Capstone assignment as we move forward throughout this semester. This week is the Credit Crush assignment, and it's a pretty important part of your capstone, but it's really a good opportunity for you to start to pay attention to ending balances, ending amounts, and just start to be aware of the potential in your plan for some numbers that are so big that they require a little bit of extra attention to the details. So hopefully that helps. I'm looking at the comments and I don't see anything. Any questions? Going once, going twice, going. Let's see. Before I conclude, let me just jump back into this week's secret class collaboration. It's the U.S. Debt Clock. You can find that at usdebtclock.org. And what I'm asking you to do this week in this assignment, this is your secret class collaboration screenshot, question, conversation. I just want you to spend 5 minutes looking at the U.S. debt clock and just tell me how you feel about that, what you see, what you're thinking. There's tons of information on that website. And so just look at it and share your thoughts, your feelings, your comments. I'm just curious how you feel about that kind of debt and what it might mean to you in your future. So that's this week's class collaboration. It's the secret one. And I will be looking forward to those comments. Don't forget, if you are on LinkedIn and you want to connect with me, I'd love to grab that connection and say hi and be connected. That's about it. Okay, a question. I have a number that big in mind. Should I just look back at interest rates? Gavin, that's a great question. You should look back at your interest rates, and it's probably because I think, what kind of car did you buy? Did you buy the Rolls Royce for like 150 grand? I can't remember which car you bought, but you have, I'm pretty sure you have some pretty big balances, some pretty big debts. You got a Dodge Challenger for 36K. So that's, what interest rate? I mean, those are the things. Yes, those are the things I would look at. And so I could jump into your plan, 7%. What about the mortgage? How much did you spend on your house? You spent 36 grand at 7%. I think that's a good interest rate, by the way, for the car loan. So the mortgage, you had 345K with a 7.14% mortgage. What about the car? What was the mortgage on the car? I mean, what was the interest rate on the car? And then also, how much credit card and what was the interest rate there? Okay, 7.14 on the car. You might want to spend a little time, just make sure that those interest rates are accurate. I mean, so 10 grand on the credit card with 29% interest. So here's what I want you to do, Gavin, and what I want everyone to do. You have a big number. Okay, cool. So jump into those, just like you're seeing on the screen. Jump into your accounts and look at the balances, look at the interest rate, look at the payments, and look at what changes when you change that strategy. And then instead of doing 0, see that little number there where it says, it's going kind of fast, but you can actually spend extra money to pay down your debt. So you might want to try that as a part of your strategy. But the main thing is, Gavin, if you have a big number, you've got to explain to me why you have such a big number. And it doesn't mean you need to go back and change things if you feel like the interest rate and the balance and on the things that you spent on credit are reasonable. Then just know that, if you pay the minimum, then this is how much you're going to save, because on the other side of the coin, if you pay the minimum and you have a 29% credit card and you pay the minimum, your balance is going to go up exponentially, because 29% is a really high interest rate. And over time, that's going to stack up against you. And that's going to stack up against you kind of like the United States debt clock is stacking up against us, because we're paying interest only on our loans. So that's the correlation there. So, Gavin, great question. Doesn't mean the number's wrong. It's a big number. Just go and do some research in your plan and make sure you understand why it's such a big number. Thank you for the question, too. Okay, any other questions? I'm going to wrap it up if I don't see a question. If you're asking a question on YouTube or Facebook, please feel free to text me the question so that I will answer it. But again, if it's a question about how to do this or how to do that, start with GroupMe. That's your place to get answers. If you find that you're not getting an answer in GroupMe, reach out to me and let me know. I want to end with one final suggestion, one final recommendation, and that is your capstone assignment isn't due until the end of the semester, but I want to make an offer. I'm not sure what this offer should be, but here's what I'm going to ask you to consider. I want to ask you to consider doing your capstone assignment early, like whenever you want. Just, it means basically understanding what you're going to work through your financial plan, and you'll see in Money Study Group what the capstone assignment is. So you'd basically be looking at each of the coming assignments and just working ahead. If you want to complete your capstone assignment and send it to me via email, if you do that, let's say in the next 2 weeks, today is 20 February, year of our Lord 2024. So let's say 2 weeks from today. I'm not even sure what 2 weeks from today is, but let me make sure I see what 2 weeks from today is. 2 weeks from today would be March 5th. So let's do 3 weeks from today. So let's do the 12th. Let me get rid of this for a minute. So it looks like the 12th of March. If we do the 12th of March, if you'll turn in your capstone assignment by the 12th of March, and it doesn't have to be perfect, don't feel like you have to get it perfect, but if you're working ahead and you feel like you really understand what we're trying to do in this course, and you're kind of ready to do your capstone assignment, and you want my input and you want my feedback, and here's the thing, you're willing to share your work with the rest of the class, you send that to me. I'll give you an extra 20 points just for doing this. And I'll do a little tutorial just to kind of go, okay, here's how I would review and grade your capstone assignment so that you have every possible chance to go in and make changes and update it. But more importantly, you will be helping the class improve and understand. So I don't know, I've never done this before. I'm just making this proposal, this announcement today. I don't know if anybody will even want to take me up on it, but if you do, 20 points. You have 3 weeks. We're going to say the 12th, March 12th. If you submit your capstone assignment, and again, you won't submit it in Canvas. You're just going to send it to me in an email. You're going to do the assignment, send it to me in an email. Tell me that you want to receive the extra 20 points and that you're giving me permission to do a tutorial. Now, I can't do this for everyone in the class. So I'm just going to leave it as an open invitation, and you'll get the 20 points if you submit it, you complete it, and you submit it. But I can't promise I'll do a tutorial for everyone. So if 20 students take me up on this offer, I'm not going to do 20 tutorials. I'll pick and choose, and I'll do, at least one thorough tutorial. I may pick 3 different capstone assignments, and do it that way. But each of you, if you want the 20 points, you got to do the capstone assignment, send it to me within 3 weeks by March, March 12th. And then you have to tell me that I have permission to use your work to share with the rest of the class. So I hope that's a Hope that's does anybody in the Zoom meeting think that'd be a cool way to kind of earn a couple extra points? Not that, look, you don't need the extra points. If you're in that situation where you're like, hey, I like the idea, I think I'll do it, probably you're going to have way more than 950 points by the end of the semester. And that's all you need for an A. So it's really not going to help you move the needle if you're an A student. But it's just a way to have a little fun, do a little engagement, and, you know, help your fellow students if you want to do that. So I don't see any comments. Maybe this is one of those ideas that never really turns into anything except a waste of time. But it's 10:59, and I don't want to waste any more time for sure. So I am going to end the broadcast. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, thank you very much for being here. Leave a comment. Let me know you're watching. Don't forget, too, by the way, that you can subscribe to that YouTube channel. Whenever I post a new video like I am today in this playlist, you'll get a notification. So it's a new channel. It's my personal YouTube channel. But the playlist, again, just so you know, the playlist is uhplaylist.com. That'll take you to this semester's playlist. Next semester it'll be a different playlist, but for now that's where you go for this video. The link to this post is in the video description. So I'm going to scroll to this post so you can see what it looks like, and then I'm going to end. I don't want you to be, so I'm going to, this is the post that I'm looking at. It's called Credit Crushing Capstone Preview. That's a interesting title, but that's the name of it. That's the title, and that the link is in this video. So thanks for watching. I'm going to end the broadcast now, and then I will jump over